Alright, back at it again with more Beyond Canon. When we last left off, Harry was a goddamn fool, and I had to go and do stuff real quick, so I decided to stop it there. Anyway, we're back. Onward to Chapter 3. How are your feelings? I don't know. Where are we at? Oh. Well, that doesn't look good. Where are we at now? What's going on? Is that Lord English's ship? I enter. Oh! Okay, this is where we're at. Okay, I know where we're at now. Prince's power grew. God damn it, Calupe. Alt Calupe. Fuck. Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ! We're off to a great start. Anyways, we're on the ship that's pursuing, Alt Dirk. Meanwhile, Calupe, who is inhabiting Jade, unfortunately. Yeah. Then blood falls. I feel him resonating through the void. Fucking great! Dude, can you chill for like even a single fucking second? Also, are you okay? Karkat is characteristically appreciative of the alarm call. Nice. Yeah, very appreciative. Oh, pardon the fuck out of me for overreacting a little when my good friend Possessed Jade burst into my respite block at 5 a.m. Next time I'll just pull the covers back and let her climb in. I am uninterested in that scenario. Great, Possessed Jade isn't even horny. How fucked up is that? What a fucked up day! How fucked up is that? How did you get in here? Yeah, I may be totally misunderstanding the intricacies of next-gen technology designed by an idiot in micro shorts, but I'm pretty sure I locked that door. I unlocked it with my mind. Fuck! Fuck. Fantastic. The prince's powers are growing, but so are mine. Wow, cool. And you had to come in here at the ass crack of the morning to tell us this? Like you don't float around like a creepy piece of shit all day as it is. Oh, is that all? Nothing else to say? Karkat, it's fine. Who cares? Yeah, you're right. Sleep is abandoned. Coffee sought. It's not like we actually have anything to wake up for. Go back to bed. No, dude. I'm up. Fuck it. I want coffee. Fuck. Fine. Fuck it. I need to use the caper anyway. Oh, me too. Don't follow me. The rogue is also awake. Oh, what's up? It's a whole ass pajama party up in here. Deadass fucking... She just fucking awoken everybody. What a bitch. You couldn't sleep? Jade woke us up by being creepy. Oh, Jade, why'd you do that? What? Oh shit, there she is. I didn't even hear her follow us. Sometimes a girl's just gotta get her drift on, I guess. It'd be like that. I prefer when all she did was float around and point at shit. At least that was quiet. Y'all want coffee? Sure. Sure. Yeah, thanks. I hate to give up the venture capitalism, but this coffee is eons better than the garbage we had on the Meteor. This ship is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever looked at, but it gives and takes, right? But it's a give and take, right? Maybe you just developed a taste for it. I used to think coffee tasted like ass, but drinking it was another thing I felt like my mom would have done. Turns out Roach drinks tea, and I Stockholm my own dumb butt into liking this addictive bean juice. Well, I mean, who knows what she drinks now? Dirk probably tossed the coffee machine out the space window right away. Dude doesn't believe in substances. The prince is contemplated for a moment in silence. Why are you up anyway? Well, I wasn't, but when somebody screamed like a rooster, boned a teapot, and had a noisy love child. Yeah, that's basically accurate. Fuck you. Maybe if you're lucky. The joke stops being funny when we've actually... is there milk? Lamal in the fridge. Where's KANAYA? Where's KANAYA? I don't know. Sleeping, I hope. The last time I saw her, she was on the second floor. Nope, the third floor observation deck. This place is huge. Please, it's maybe a tenth the size of the Meteor. Yeah, dude, but that was basically a city. This is more like a castle. A castle of, I don't know, 20 or something NUI. Anybody hungry? I was thinking of alchemizing some pancakes, or maybe eggs. They all basically taste the same at the end of the day. I think alchemicalized food is like 80% imagination, but both of you barely eat and it's making me anxious. Damn, thanks mom. I mean, shit, dad, Roxy, fuck, sorry I tried. I'm tired. It's okay, don't worry about it. Okay, but just because our relatives turned evil doesn't mean we have to act like total animals. We can still try and respect each other's identities and shit. Anyways, I'm gonna go check on KANAYA. Possessed Jade, don't follow me. I am fine where I am. Cool. Sick. Stay exactly where you are. Do not follow me. The Knight of Time seeks a sylph and finds her momentarily. And off he goes. Oh yeah. KANAYA's not doing great. She's on her warpath arc. You ever feel like our whole lives are eventually going to end up like this? Just blasting through space on a sweeps-long journey to somewhere, chasing after or running from some vague enemy that's sometimes a god-modded pet dog and sometimes your dad, without the faintest fucking idea of what's going to happen when we get there? That's a little specific, but you know what I mean. Hello, Dave. Hey, Dave. I knew you came in with a paragraph, but hello. She's so cute! Her outfit is so cute! Oh my god! She's so cute. I'm so sorry that the world seems to want to cuck you. I am ever so sorry. Sup? Am I bugging you? Do you want me to leave you to it, or? Not particularly now that you're here, but shouldn't you be asleep? Shouldn't you? I need less sleep than I used to. Less food, to which is fortunate for the rest of you. Oh, right. I always forgot about the vampire thing, because you're already an alien. And if somebody tried to sit me down to get me to watch a movie about a vampire alien, I'd be like, come on, pick a genre. Except I'd watch it anyway, because, let's be honest, the only person who'd ever try to get me to watch something like that would be Carcat. And if he can get me to watch Serendipity, he can get me to watch anything, but you get what I'm saying. Yes, Rose even told me. Shit, sorry. It's alright to say her name. I just don't want to remind you of that shit if I can avoid it. You aren't reminding me of her, as I rarely think of anything else. I close my eyes and I see her. I keep them open and I see her. Well, I see space in the corner of my shoe right now, but her too. She's there in a glint of fluorescence shining off the shoe. And she's out there somewhere in the sea of stars, which just reminds me of one of the nursery stories she reserved to read to young broods of grubs back then. Oh, huh. I still kind of had a hard time picturing Rose reading to kids. Maybe a dick thing to say, but she doesn't seem like the type. I understand. It's one thing to come into the responsibilities of adulthood yourself, and another to dwell on those you were once close to, struggling with similar pressures. Growing up is, so to speak, it is strange. Some may say, life is strange. Yeah, so what was the story? Oh, it's a regular story about a young prince and the beloved flower he loved and lost. Flower? Like a plant? It's a fairy tale, Dave. Right. A singular wild rose he failed to cherish when we had her, and his journey of discovering what she meant to him all along, culminating in a new quest to find her and win her back. The story comments on the nature of friendship, and of course, in turn, love. How once they connect, there is no distance or circumstance that can separate them. How the worlds in each one's mind take on contours, shaped by their memories of the other. Places and moments and orbiting passersby, becoming more and more entangled in the context of their mutual affections, such as with a garden calling to mind an entanglement once declared there, or something to that fucking effect. That seems like seems kind of whack for a kid's story. It's possible I'm projecting slightly in this specific circumstance. It was just a metaphor, but in a way I feel as if it is the greater universe trying to tell me something. It may simply stem from my longing to see her again, and how much is indicative of something more sinister. She is a goddess of light, and the only of her kind we know is alive after all. Maybe she wrested dominion of the entire concept in all its appearances within this frame of reference, or within my personal frame of reference at least, and made them her own in some strange way. So I can't help but see her when I see it at all. Whether it's a star or a light bulb, they all just leave her burnt into my mind like the blazing imprint of an afterimage. I mean, it sounds like you think it's because she's a god, like she's wielding some kind of cosmic power over you. But if it was really true love or whatever, would you even know the difference? I guess I wouldn't. Would you want, for that matter, like, isn't feeling that strongly connected of how you want it to be anyway. I think it's how I want it, at least. Can I sit down? Of course, it's not my observation deck. Cool. Sorry, I know you say you got your badass monster powers, but KANAYA, you look tired as hell. Not that I'm trying to psych you or whatever, but you're waxing poetic in the dark, which I guess is maybe on brand, but still. Kinda worried about you, sis. You don't have to call me that anymore. In fact, I wish you wouldn't. It really hasn't ever been accurate. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Rose didn't serve you divorce papers before she left on her fucked up father-daughter RP, so you're still my sister. I mean, you could always decide to divorce her yourself, but I doubt you're going to find a lawyer in space, unless Terezi's lurking in the vents somewhere, and now that I bring that up, it's actually not out of the question, so I'm kind of gonna be thinking about that one for a while, but yeah, this whole situation blows. You and Carcat didn't have to come with me. I know you have your own lives and your own mate spirit ship. No offense, dude, but yeah, we did. I wasn't gonna let the only family I ever have left fly off without me. Roxy didn't have to come either. Debatable. Also, I don't mean just Roxy. Did you not just hear my heartwarming insistence that I think you as my sister? And yeah, Roxy is rad, but our relationship is pretty fucking convoluted if we're being totally honest. You're the only person I know who's still basically the same as when I met you. See, that's why I love KANAYA. She's just like... When you first meet her to now, it's like she kept her sensibilities exactly the fucking same. God, I love things staying the same. You kept, like, okay, yeah, she did grow a little bit, but she's mainly stayed like 80% the same, and that's why I love it. This smile, precious. No, stay with me here. I know people grow and change and shit. It's dumb to think you haven't improved or whatever since we met 10 years ago, but Rose is gone, and Roxy isn't gone, but he isn't really the same as he was before. Maybe that's shitty of me to say, and I'm like leaning into my own internal biases, but talking to him feels different. And Carcat is the same big fucking tool he's always been, but our shit is definitely, different than it was before. But yeah, you and I can always still recognize I'm quite easy to locate in the dark. Yeah, thank you. For what? For reminding me why I'm here. Cool. Since we're sharing this human emotion called friendship, what about you? What about me what? How are your feelings? Oh, those. Yeah, they're pretty good. Not much to say on that front, except sometimes your best friend disappears and your other best friend goes into a ghost coma and your third best friend fucks off to space with your dad. The dude you spent the last 7 years convincing yourself isn't an egomaniacal anime villain and who isn't actually lying in wait to completely decimate your life and your emotions and shit. Anyway, I forgot what my point was, but yeah, I'm fine. And though, what the fuck does that even mean anymore for any of us? Maybe it was naive to think that a bunch of 20-something trauma victims could run a society. And that is the overall... Dave just summed up the entirety of the epilogues and probably the rest of Homestuck too, right fucking there. This one fucking thing right here. It may have been a bad idea and pretty naive to think a bunch of trauma victims just fresh off a spur and all that bullshit was able to actually run a society. Instead of keeping with it from the ground up, they fast forward through it because they love breaking shit. Maybe this is better. At least this way we can't fuck it up worse. Cool how Earthsea existed for centuries when we showed up and managed to ruin society in 7 fucking years. Yeah, you sowed the seeds and it worked out perfectly fine without you, and then you integrated yourselves and then it all fucked up. That's kind of funny. Maybe Dirk actually did the smartest thing he could, fucking left. Perhaps, but he did leave arguably the 2 worst possible people in charge when he did. Man, I guess, but who knows, maybe Jane will turn out to be a great president. Maybe without Dirk's corrupting influence, Jake's ass will become a symbol of peace and interspecies harmony. At least everyone can agree on something. Shit, how does this always happen? Every serious conversation I have inevitably falls apart into riffing on casual acquaintances' asks. Not to suggest anything untoward, but you appear to be the unifying component in all of these scenarios. Could be. But all that aside, I really do think we're better off out here. At least I am. Yeah. You know what? It's moments like these that it's like they're actually bonding, you know? We get to see them as pure, unadulterated, like, friends and acquaintances, and that's nice. That's what I want to see more of. Meanwhile, these two. So, do you want pancakes? I can make you pancakes. Do you think he's okay? Who? Dave. I don't know. You know him better than I do. Actually, I think you know him better than anybody might know anybody. You guys are like the real fucking deal, I guess. Wait, why the fuck am I even asking? He's obviously not fine. Are any of us? Are you? Not really. Exactly. KANAYA barely even talks. Calliope won't leave their cabin. Jade just floats around like a creepy balloon that's mostly made of hair. The only really fucked up thing is I might be the most okay out of all of us. This is fucked up. I may be the most okay out of all of us. This sucks. That's how you know shit's fucked. The really fucked up thing is I might be the most okay out of all of us, which is how you know shit has really gone on globs up. All of you lost your family, I just lost some people I sort of know, and the presidential race, then thank God for that. Fuck, can you imagine how it would have shook out if Jake hadn't shit himself on stage? Probably way less smelling. I don't know why I let Dave talk me into it. Jesus Christ. Nothing good has ever come of me being in charge of Jack Dick. To be honest, I think Jane winning the presidency might have been the best thing to ever happen to me. Every time I've tried to lead anything, it's blown up in my face. Did you know that when I was a Wiggler, I seriously thought I was going to be the guy to lead all my friends to glory? I literally fought people for control of the team, and what ended up happening was literally every single one of my friends besides KANAYA died. Actually, she did die. Fuck! I'm 0 for 0! You're kinda an intense dude. Anybody ever tell you that? No. My point is, this is the best possible scenario for me. I don't even like Earth that much. Well, you're lucky, I guess. No, I'm not. Fuck! I'm not trying to brag about it. I'm just saying, don't waste your sympathy on me. Against pretty much all odds, and despite me not deserving any of it, I ended up getting pretty much everything I wanted. Over and over again. Sometimes it almost feels like whatever slathering monstrosity of a cosmic hell beast that put all this shit into motion actually likes me. Fucked up if true. Thanks, Rox. Appreciate it. Fucked up if true indeed. Couldn't have said it better myself. We were in the middle of a literal universe-shattering war for the continuation of our races, and Dave and I just spent 3 years climbing up each other's nooks and playing video games, and I guess also saving Paradox Face? So what you're saying is love can bloom even on the battlefield, I guess. So, you want pancakes? Yeah, okay. I guess. Yeah, sure. Dude, this was interesting. This was interesting. I kind of liked it. I kind of like it. I like this vibe. You know what? People were shitting on it. I kind of like the vibe so far. I'm admittedly only 118 pages in, but I'm kind of liking it. And I feel like it was one of those. Maybe I haven't gotten to the bad part yet. In fact, I know I haven't gotten to the bad part yet, but it feels not horrible. It feels not horrible. I'm afraid to look at the log to see how far I have to go. I'm just gonna wing it. We're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna take a quick breather. Alright, onward to chapter 4, the contest. I guess we're jumping back. This was like an intermission. We're jumping back into the candy timeline. Oh, never mind. Light years away. Oh, this is the crash ship for Dirk. Okay, cool. Meanwhile, nice. Expert landing. Alright, then they're going to a cave. God damn! Sorry. I have a thing for robots. Also, she bad as hell. I don't fucking care. Are you finished posing dramatically out there? I think Terezi wants a turn. Rose enter. She's more than welcome. I've had my fill. Feels good, doesn't it? Now get over here. We got business to discuss. Rose, render yourself more symbolically this instant. There we go. Terezi, you too? No thanks, I'm good. In fact, now that we're here, I can't imagine anything worse than sitting down with you two for another little chat. You've ruined the very concept of talking for the rest of my life. Oh, come on. It wasn't really all that bad, was it? Dirk may be completely insufferable, thanks. But we had some pretty good times over the course of the journey, didn't we? I'm struggling to think of any. Oh, how you wound me. 3 years of anime plot analysis is enough to turn any relationship sour. Alright, that's fair. The anime was rather tedious. Wow. Damn, wow. But I post that it could have been much, much worse. At the very least, none of us succumbed to substance abuse, or re-succumbed, I guess I should say. The perks of not having an appetite, or a liver, in my case. In yours, I'm actually not sure. Perhaps the underlying cognitive dissonance or trauma you were originally trying to distract yourself from is no longer a growing concern. Or, no, wait, that's not right. I'm thinking of a different Terezi, or maybe I'm thinking of a different me. Maybe the different me is thinking of a different Terezi, and I'm just witnessing the thought happen as a bystander. It's what the fuck? Rose. RB, what are you doing? It is much the same at this point. And I suppose I'm also prematurely ruling out the potential of anime functioning as an abusable substance. In which case, I got a very bad news for all of us. We made it to the 12-step plan. Yep, it's still Rose, because she's still as funny as fuck. Still Rose. And let me know if you show any signs of withdrawal. Rose! Oh my god! The point could have been made any more obvious if you sat on it. We may be in complete agreement about Dirk being a tedious nook wipe. We are? Shush. But newsflash, you aren't actually any better. Wow. Sleep without sulfur doesn't come easy to my species, and yet I somehow managed to spend 4 good chunks of our 3-year journey unconscious. That's how fucking tedious the two of you are. And the worst part is that neither of you actually have the decency to do anything legitimately awful. You just sit there and drone on, talking about things that don't matter and asking questions that don't have answers. We're on a new planet, seeing things which have possibly never been experienced before, and all you can think to do is hold up in a cave and regurgitate completely pointless bullshit. It's called philosophizing. Well, it should be illegal as far as I'm concerned. Stop calling her that! Okay, I'm done. Screw you both. I'm going to go and introduce some planets to the troll emotion we call terror. Stop calling who that? Well, if you change your mind about the philosophy, I won't. Okay. Damn, she grew her hair out. Damn, she a bad bitch. I'm simping for real. That was odd, even by Terezi's standards. She's fine, doubtless, but wouldn't it be best to wait for her to return before discussing our future plans? Whether she likes it or not, she is part of this goofy expedition. She isn't part of this, though. A part of this? This. You mean she isn't a god, she isn't a ruler, and she isn't suited for it, and we are? Come on, you know that we are, but I think I can present a pretty convincing case if needs be. So you wanted to have a dialect about it first, just to be sure. I'm game. Where's how our allegory began? Beg pardon. Oh, come on, the cave. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in you. 3 years, and not once did I witness you replacing any parts of the ship. How are we to jerk ourselves off philosophically if you don't lean into your clumsy illusions? It's a fair question, but since the name you suggested was nothing more than a very juvenile play on words, I can't say you've got much ground to stand on. What's juvenile about the Kant? Nothing, at least not the way you say it. It's not my fault you sound like a gay cowboy. Okay, stop calling her Rose Bot, just call her Rose. Oh, that's what she meant. She's not schizo, I'm just stupid. Gotcha. Okay, I get you. So we're just calling her Rose now, because she is Rose. You don't need to call her the Rose Bot. Anyway. Sigh. Not my fault you sound like a gay cowboy. See what I have to deal with? And yes, I'm still here. For the time being, I want to keep things brief, narratively speaking. Look, we can have this argument later. I'll pencil it in. For now, we need to talk about Deltrius. Deltrius? Yeah, Deltrius. Deltrius. Class something. Check with Rose. Ooh, nice drawing. Huge bit. Heading site causes potentially fuck if I know. I would like more information about Deltrius. I like to suggest a preliminary topic of discussion. Shoot, or rather a point of constructive criticism. That name, yes, it absolutely blows. Okay, in the interest of open-minded discourse, I like to counter it by saying that I think it's pretty dope. But it's fine, we don't gotta settle for that. Do you have a better suggestion? No. I'm simply making a suggestion, then shut the fuck up! This name sucks. Do you got a better suggestion? No? Then shut up! You could at least come up with an alternative. Making shit's hard. I think having a good name for this planet is an important first step in telling its story, which is what we're here to do. I agree, names are potent symbols after all. I just think we have a different understanding of what a good name entails in this instance. To be clear, I think it's the perfect name for this place. It's just that when it comes to habitable planets, I think that it's some unwritten law of our reality which dictates that names should be either boring, like Earth, or insufferable, like Alternia or Before Us, or Deltrius. Alright, I get it. insufferably boring gets you bonus points. I think that's partly the point of it. It's a name to be lived on. It becomes a kind of furniture, so to speak. Or I suppose you could see it as a place of origin, the absolute 0 point of growth, kind of like a family name. A name some people are always trying to leave behind because it's the only way to be sure that one is moving at all. It's the dirt beneath your feet, so I suppose in a way every planet is Earth. Nice. Oh, it's getting too much. Right, we're not going to call this planet Earth as well, though. No, that would be far too cliche, quadruply so even, Deltrius it is. Am I saying that right? Deltritus, there we go. It's amazing how you managed to both shit on my idea and make it seem a lot better justified in hindsight. Well, of course, I'm an author. I apply my trade on well-justified bullshit. Anyway, to business. Again. Yeah, the point is we'll be building intelligent life on this planet from scratch. That was one of our key mistakes with Earth-C. We should have started our guidance from the very beginning instead of letting it grow organically in our image. I'm not sure I agree, but go on. No, please, knock yourself out. We stayed on topic for a few seconds and I hate to make it a habit. Our own world was abandoned by its gods, or I suppose its gods never reached it. The trolls beat their game, but were unable to actually claim their reward and take their places in its pantheon. In a sense, our creators abandoned us, and while I can't say that our world developed well, I don't think it would have been better off being guided, especially considering who would have been doing the steering. Although I guess you can't prove that kind of a negative statement. Anyways, what exactly are we proposing? You ever heard of the watchmaker analogy? Yes, damn, okay, humor me anyway. Say you're an alien and you're walking on a beach, an Earth beach, if that wasn't clear. You're an alien who has never come in contact with the human race before. So say you're an alien and you find a pocket watch on the beach. You've never seen anything like it before, so you pick it up and open it to try and figure out how it works. You see all the gears moving smoothly, all the pieces fitting together in a flawless interlocking pattern. Look at the face and you realize it keeps perfect time. You, the alien, ask yourself, how could something so perfect, with a flawless form suited to its task, have come into being? And, so the argument goes, someone created it. The time needed to be told, so a craftsman made something to tell it. Exactly. This analogy always struck me as extremely contrived. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, how many fucking pocket watches does one usually stumble across on the ground randomly? Fuck it, who stumbles across a pocket watch anywhere? This isn't the goddamn 1800s. That point in history where people were famously tripping over errant clockwork every time they went outside. And don't forget, there are aliens in this version of a history too. Yeah, I think I might have made up that part though. Probably wasn't part of the original. Although, considering the version of Earth history I was familiar with, I guess the aliens end up being the most believable thing in the whole setup. I suppose, in a way, this argument's own existence fulfills the same philosophical premise as the analogy itself. It's a scenario perfectly suited to its function, which is to convince you of the existence of intelligent design, one that is so unlikely to have arisen by chance that the presence of an artificer is the natural conclusion. It's the weird spiral of a concept, really. Its creators all the way down. Yeah. But I guess my response would be that this is an argument in favor of intelligent design being a factor in the creation of the universe. It's not an argument that intelligent design should be a factor in the creation of the universe. That's the question of morality. True, but if intelligent design is a reality, and I think our experience indicates that, yeah, there's a pretty good chance, then wouldn't failing to continue it be an abdication of our responsibility? If we can order this world and we fail to, is that really any better than smashing the watch ourselves? You don't want to be responsible for screwing it up, and I get that, but failing to act isn't any more morally justifiable than acting wrongly. So it's really a moral argument that you're making. Sounds like we've detoured into the trolley problem here, or maybe derailed. Derailed is the more appropriate descriptor. I hope nobody is tied to the tracks in this conversation, at least. Rose, you're avoiding the question. You came to this planet, you saw it in your mind's eye, and chose to come here. More or less. Wasn't that because on some level you wanted to have a hand in its future? Maybe. At least I think so. It's a bit hard to weigh my motivations for coming against the reality of what we're proposing to do here, in the sense that I'm not quite sure how to even go about making that kind of calculation. I want to create something wholly new, something that's ours, but I can't help but wonder what right do the two of us specifically have to do that. Bro, you can't go through all of this. My throat's starting to hurt. You can't go through all of this, Rose, and then be like, but do I want to do it though? It's been 3 years out. You've been doing this bullshit. You can't think to turn back and walk away now. That's just not the case. We're talking about wanting to have a hand in the future, maybe, at least I think so. It's a bit hard to weigh my motivations for coming against the reality of what we're proposing to do here, in the sense that I'm not quite how or to even go about making that kind of calculation. I want to create something wholly new, something that's ours, but I can't help but wonder what right do the two of us specifically have to do that, though. We won the game, though. We're literally fucking creators. We have as much of a right as anyone possibly could. I'm not sure I feel good about putting that victory on my resume, especially not since so much luck was involved, while the conclusion was simultaneously determined from the very beginning, a paradox which is typical of the complete mess that is our lives, and which possibly makes no sense to anyone but us. I suppose that's the point I'm trying to make. We quite possibly know more about our reality than anyone else ever could, which you could say makes us plenty qualified, but it's that self-same knowledge that tells me that maybe nobody ever could be qualified for this kind of creative endeavor. She's avoiding the question again. It's amazing how one can technically have the maximum amount of metaphysical personal awareness possible and still not notice these sorts of things. It's stuff like this that makes me wonder sometimes whether there's anything about myself that I'm missing. Then I throw that wonder in the garbage can and turn the incinerate setting on. That was a bit of ironic self-deprecation on my part. I know that recently I've made a habit of simply discarding things that are pointlessly difficult or irritating, or if you're so inclined, uncomfortable. It's something I've learned in order to cope with. Well, never mind. It's better this way, and I'm not going to air my trauma or whatever in front of y'all. The point is that knowing about it doesn't mean that I don't do it, and nor would it necessarily make it easier for me to stop if I wanted to. Personal failings, if you can call this one, don't work that way, I would know. I also know Rose is probably just the same. She sees it happening and can't stop it, and takes a strange pride in knowing herself so well, and at the same time she feels hurt to be so utterly predictable to herself, but that's a pain that you have to learn to lean into when presented with the sum of total of all possible self-knowledge. I suppose this actually kind of answers the question about ultimate self-awareness. Damn, did we just identify and then immediately solve a mystery in the space of a few paragraphs? I think we mighta. Good work, us. Even so, I want to do this. I have to want it. How could I not, after everything we gave up to make it happen? Exactly. Walking away is almost impossible. You're stranded you're shipwrecked and stranded on a random ass fucking planet that's apparently was the best candidate for whatever it is you're fucking doing. You can't just walk away now. You're too deep into it. You gotta see it through to the end, if for no other reason than to say, well, I got nothing else to do. I literally can't do anything else other than this. Walking away at this point would be, well, regardless, we don't have that option. The thesis is totaled. I almost want to make a joke about us not getting it insured, though I'm worried it might indicate what Dave would call early onset responsible adult syndrome. It's easy for him to make fun of us. He's immune. Possibly. He certainly wasn't showing any symptoms at his last checkup. That was well over 3 years ago at this point. Rose looks off into space, seeming to exist at a very great distance for a while, and then at a perfectly calculated moment she chuckles quietly, almost mournfully to herself. I'm rambling again. Told you so. It's okay. I'm sure there was some good reasoning buried fuck deep in there somewhere. Future archaeologists will unearth it eventually. It sounds like you've made up your mind though. Maybe. She hesitates again, not sure. Oh, come on, Rose. Yes, you are. You know this is what you want to do. More than that, you know that it's the right thing to do. May as well get it over with. Fine. Excellent. What? Don't look at me like that. She was already on board with it in all but name, and we both know it, so why waste our time? You got better things to do as of right now. And so do I. So do Rose and I. He did as she said, I'm gonna speedrun this process, because this bitch doesn't know how to make up her mind. Fair enough. I cordially invite you all to fuck off with your judgmental attitude, by which I mean fuck off right back here, because we still got important exposition to deal with. You mentioned playing a game together. I take it that this is involved somehow. Bingo. And I take it you have a format of play in mind as well. Yep. So I guess the basic premise is, yeah, we could establish a new civilization on I was about to say Deltarune. My eyes looked over at Deltritus, and I saw Deltarune. I was about to say Deltarune. Deltritus. Cook up a new freakish alien species and steer them towards playing the game at a distance using a command terminal. It would certainly be a challenging application of our combined skills, but it doesn't strike me as being all that fun by itself. For clarity's sake, the second game you're referring to here is the game that we all played 10 years ago, Spurb, or Scrub, I guess, whatever it's called this time around. Yeah, that's the game. Gotta be careful with those capitals. The game between the two of us is going to be different. I propose that we turn this into a contest of sorts. Each of us takes responsibility for creating our own separate species, each with their own design, society, and culture. Then we pit them against one another to see which will ultimately play the game. For the love of God, please let's call it something else, if only for the sanity-fraying memories of memes long past. That's our culture you're talking about. Have some goddamn respect. Actually, it was my culture. I think it's more accurate to say that you appropriated it 400 years later. You're right, I'm sorry. Mea culpa. I regret everything. Alright, bullshit aside, that's the contest I like to propose. 2 gods, 2 species, 1 copy of the game. We have a lot of time to kill before it's ready to play. May as well have some fun in the meantime. I'm intrigued. That's good. Intrigue is good. Alright. I have a few questions before we begin. First and most pressing, how do you propose to go about doing this? What are our raw materials? Unless you're planning on giving me a rib, I'm not sure we are going to work for, where we are going to work from. That's fair enough. There doesn't appear to be anything in the way of animal life on this planet for us to use, but that's not important. We got all the raw material we already need. Quite literally, in fact. We're going to make a new species out of us. I see. Don't worry, it doesn't imply actually breaking ourselves down into usable matter or anything like that. What I mean is that we have 2 humans worth of genetic material to start from, and more importantly, the technology to use that material to synthesize something new. So ectobiology then, that's part of it, yeah. Let's take this into the lab. The lab? Yeah. It's just another fucking cave, okay? Proceed to the lab. It's another cave, or is it another part of the cave? You got all that set up pretty well. This cave has a lab-like ambiance, I'll give it that, and I've seen a few labs in my time. Sweet. It's got the Lalon witticism of approval. No honor could be higher. I'm sure I could have come up with something better if I was still internally reeling at the prospect of us becoming our own biblical progenitors. Yeah, the old bearded man with the sky wishes he had one of these babies, though. All he had was heterosexuality and a very long con, although I guess they're both essentially the same thing. Oh shit! There's something so delicious about the 2 of us being the ones to populate an entire planet from scratch. The irony doesn't get much sweeter. How quickly you learn, my child. I'm so proud of you. Anyways, that horseshit aside, it turns out that basically all the equipment that Spurb gave us can be integrated into one device, with the ability to perform both chemical and ectobiological functions. The idea is pretty simple. We each contribute our own genetic sequence in the form of paradox slime, and then use it as a base to graft new material onto using alchemy. Doesn't that strike you as a little, what? You know, incestuous, slurry adjacent? Oh, that shouldn't be an issue. We're each going to be keeping our slime to ourselves. How courteous. In any case, after the base material is collected, so it's going to be, instead of incestual, it's going to be self-cestuous. Because that's totally better. Totally. In any case, after the base material is collected and the alchemical mix is finalized, we rapidly accelerate the development of the synthesized life forms to a point at which they can form a society of sorts. So, in theory, what the mayor and his associates did on Earth C, but just larger in scope, instead of staying within the framework of a species that already exists. And here, we won't be waiting thousands of years for the development to happen in real time. This plays to our advantage in more ways than one. For one thing, it's pretty clear that we aren't going to get this right on the first try. I've been conceiving of this as a long game of many individual moves, each of us building and advancing in response to the concepts thrown out by the other. Think of it as a collaborative world building. It's like a game of chess, except you're using real people, real things, real beings. All those D&D nights on the meteor finally turned to my advantage. Okay, I think I understand the premise well enough. Why don't you start things off first? Roll the first die. Alright, sweet. Alright, you're taking a point in time from earlier, and you're gooing him up. Right? Then you suck the goo into the tube. First things first, getting a hold of myself. There's about 15 different unfunny jokes we could make about that, but let's just fucking chill for once in our goddamn lives. Agreed. And I'll make no mention of you sucking yourself in any capacity. God shitting damn it. And then you do whatever the fuck it is he's doing. This is some coding and math and all that. Next step is adding mutations. We can use any old shit for this. Literally any capture-loggable object that can be added into the mix by inserting its card into one of the slots here. And by using a combination of ands, ors, and so on, we can apply the science of alchemy to that of ectobiology. Alchemical biology, if you will. In the original process of breeding the Genesis frog, we are kind of doing the opposite, screening out distortions in its divine genetic waveform, so to speak. Here we're adding noise deliberately, kind of like genetic spoligification. Inside of this machine is one big artificial genetic infidelity bonanza. Dave would approve. You're taking gushers, the squiddles, and what? Oh, you're a succulent. What's up? I thought you had to punch the cards to use them in the shunt slots. I recall devising a sequence of analogies for the process in my walkthrough once upon a time. Hardly my best work, but the principles were sound. No, you're right. I was being politely self-efficating, Dirk. You didn't have to... Efficating, Dirk. You didn't have to agree with me. About the holes in the cards, I mean. I am not really sure why we don't have to do that anymore. I think this machine punches the cards with the correct pattern once you put them in. Although the implication is that it somehow reads what's on the card in order to punch it with the holes, which enables it to read the same information. That sounds like an appropriate degree of profound ridiculousness. I love it. In other words, it's one less step that you have to make because it's already a bunch of kooky bullshit and we don't need to complicate it further. Got it. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised you remember anything about this shit, even though we can't technically forget anything anymore. Me too. It's amazing what piece of inconsequential information your mind can recall at a moment's notice, a whole decade after they were last relevant or interesting to anyone. I think I missed. Guys, I missed this. I think we're way back. Yo, okay, that should be everything taken care of. This will be my first move, the opening gambit in the grand game of fate for this planet. All that remains is to see the result. Indeed. Pull the lever, crunk! Push the button. Echo alchemologize. Behold! My creation. Behold! Complete. What a great making. Good job. Oh. Ah. Yeah. Yep. He did say that there would be a few bad tries. This was one of them. Dirk. Rose. Game on. Game on. Alright, chapter 5. Your eyes have been closed. They're working. They're scheming. And she goes out and... Huh? That's weird. Enhance. Wee, wee, wee. The dissonant hum of struggling mechanics fills Teresa's ears as she sits cross-legged on the floor of the now ruined engine room. She likes it here, the soft white noise ringing of the extensive ventilation network sounds. If she's close, closes her nose just right, like the rustle of wind through the leaves of a tree hive universes away. The warm thrumming of machines at work is accompanied by blinking lights that taste like rainbow sprinkles as they flicker, but Teresa isn't distracted from the main object of her focus. The unconscious body of Rose Lalonde, bathed in dim light, chest rising and falling to artificially induced slumber. Wires and tubes run up from her plinth to the ceiling of the chamber, keeping her alive, yes, but too much just for that purpose. Something about the tangle of intravenous tubing and fiber optics makes Teresa think of the old stories about the psionic, the psionic? Is that supposed to be psionic? Sure, psionic. Her train of thought is interrupted by metallic footfalls and the screeching sound of a broken airlock sliding open. Oh, so I guess she's, but okay. So I guess, you know, True Rose is in a tube on the crash site of the ship. Okay, well, whatever. Sure. There you are. I haven't seen much of you. I've been right here for hours, but your eyes have been closed the whole time. Rosebud turns her head to look back at the frail, failing vessel that once housed her consciousness. She doesn't even dissipate a fake laugh to her behavioral display matrix in pity of this half-joke. Your attachment to my comatose body is unexpectedly charming, as well as slightly sinister. She isn't going to do anything. She isn't coming back from where she's gone. You never know. Yes, I suppose that's true. Anything can happen. You can't see the future, etc., etc. Except I can. I can see the trajectory the story needs to take, and thus I know the trajectory it will take. And resurrecting my meat puppet would not only be difficult to the point of being worthless, it would also be extremely lame. Not that it would be out of character for this story. We live and breathe on the stupefying, mind-numbing, and yet mind-numbingly stupid. But then we begin to veer towards this disillusion yet again. If what you're saying is true, if a story has to be compelling to be canon, do you really think Dirk is the type to tell a compelling story? His taste in anime alone is concerning. I did enjoy the one about the horses, though. I don't think that counts as anime, but that's why we're here, isn't it? To steer the story the right way? I guess. You're not enthusiastic. Playing with a whole world like it's some kind of squeaky Lucis toy does sound like it has its moments. I mean, my friends wanted to rule your little world as petty tyrants after we won the game ourselves. But do you think that would have been for the best for you and all the other mammalian weirdos on your planet? It didn't happen because it didn't happen. If I have to hear one more tautology from either of you, I'm going to move to the woods and plague your new society as a hermit bog monster forever. See, that's more the spirit. Become as myth, Terezi Pyrope, the troll under the bridge you were always meant to be. The village chalk supplies would be ravaged. Townsfolk will tell their children scary stories of the terrible dragon hiding in the woods. If they're not good, she might emerge. From the swamp and moralize one of them. Just because you've elected to abandon the concepts of good and bad entirely doesn't mean I don't still have moral reservations. But this isn't about that. I'm talking about the basic ability of intelligent beings in all real and hypothetical plans of existing to give a shit. I don't give a shit. And honestly, I have a hard time understanding why you do. Where did this come from? You didn't do much world building when you fucked off for eons and let chess people build your planet. That approach failed. Without an organized antagonistic force, the planet became fundamentally unsuited to relevance. Its dissolution was inevitable, and our fellow victors couldn't or wouldn't see. We only know of one way to perpetuate canon for sure, to play and defeat the game, and continue the life cycle of the Genesis frog we cling to parasitically. This, obviously, has destructive consequences, ones we spared the Earth by coming here and starting from a blank slate. Now it is protected, in the steady hands of a duly elected ruler, sure to have a boring and uneventful perpetual term in office. Blah, blah, blah. So you feel bad about how much you guys were big teen failures and want another flip of the coin. No, I don't feel bad. I don't need to bargain with the past or question it. Everything that happened brought us here, an imperfect mechanism to be sure, rusting in points, barely functional in others, occasionally relying on the labor of strange clowns. As the sheer number of doomed universes our actions in the game spun off should show, we barely understood the design at the time. Truly, we stumbled through the tape of the finish line ass first, cheating all the way, but there was no table of judges waiting to educate our performance by holding up little placards with numbers on them. We are the observers, and we are the judges. We won, and to the victor go the spoils. If you want a hand in making the rules of this new world, then don't storm off. You're trying to lead me to accept your moral framework. What if no one should control the universe? All we fought against were monsters who converted power into control, and not everything we lost fighting them was a mistake. There was a lot sacrificed for the idea of good. What's the point in continuing the story if that was meaningless? If Lord English was just holding up the world, if it takes acting like him to keep it alive, wouldn't it be better just to let it die? Rosebud looks over at the planet where her body sits, kept alive, sure, but atrophied and weak, dependent on the machine to continue projecting consciousness to the abiotic enclosure, keeping the realization of the ultimate self from tearing her apart. Wouldn't it be better just to let it die? Terezi isn't asking new questions. Rose had first threatened suicide when she was 8. She couldn't bear the thought of attending the funeral her mother was organizing for her beloved cat Jasper's. When she was 10, she put on her coat and stood in whipping winter winds on the balcony overlooking a frozen waterfall, imagining the plunge with a blank expression on her face, eyes stinging from the New York cold. Her mother had drunk herself to sleep with the vacuum on again, the mechanical wailing inside playing a chord with the gale outside, inescapable. But her first and only real attempt was a success. All these thoughts cross your mind in a microcycle. Explaining things to someone not aided by the exponential increase in processing power Rosebud has is tedious. Terezi's hesitation won't be swayed by explaining more of the universe. There's another source at work. Not to be indelicate, Terezi, but I have wondered something. Yeah, it would be completely unlike you to be indelicate. I'm being serious. You said it yourself, that you don't give a shit. This melancholy, this meaninglessness you're feeling, I think there's another explanation for it, one having little to do with the structural soundness of our plan. I think there's a psychological explanation at work here. Of course you do. You think there's a psychological explanation for everything, and it all has to do with mothers and repression. Your mother was an egg. I recognize there are limitations at play here to the human experience, but I don't think it requires a great deal of insight, even though I do in fact have a great deal of insight to recognize that you are fucking depressed. You are fucking depressed. Oh, thank you, Dr. Science. Let me take out my human checkbook to pay for for these invaluable human insights. Yeah, and it's like, hey, you're depressed. Anyway, pay me $5,000. Thanks. And they're discovering that there is a problem is the only way to solve it. The constant insistence that everything is as it ought to be isn't just counterproductive, it's pathetic. From one seer to another, we both know how bad you've gotten in the past, or if not in the past, in some past. I have no desire to meet that Terezi, no matter how doubtlessly sticky and charming she might be. Not every bad feeling is a syndrome, and just because I do things differently than you do doesn't mean my brain is broken. That's not what depression is. Oh my god, I don't care. Stop trying to get through to me or whatever else you think is happening here. We aren't friends. Go ahead and do your arts and crafts project with people's lives. Shockingly, Terezi, I'm not asking you for your permission or your blessing. I would need neither. I was offering a reprieve from the monotony of the last 3 years and what promises to be a long stretch of time going forward. Your life is going to be short compared to mine and Dirk's, but that doesn't mean it has to be boring. The two of you really are made for each other, and I am made from him. That's how families work. Is that why you left KANAYA behind? Because you know so fucking much about family? I would be careful if I were you. The weight of what I know and you do not is enough to overwhelm a mortal frame. Oh, shut up! Stop playing this mystical bullshit every time. Don't you miss her? Don't you? Your constant deflection is as pointless as it is ineffective. My feelings are irrelevant. There is nothing to mourn if it all dissolves, not even the capacity for grief. If the cycle of canon must continue, then it must. Some don't understand that. You do. I did. Is this what canon means, though? Garish orange and purple gods acting out the same story again and again. Another journey, another planet, another game. I grew up thinking I had to throw away everyone and go jet off to space. It wasn't good or evil. It was easy to justify as just what must happen. It was essential. Ah, but was it relevant and true? This isn't the same and you know it. We see things the way they are. That we are obliged to act, to save the concept of meaning itself by continuing to spin the narrative loom in new tapestries. I used to enjoy talking to you, you know. When I thought this was what you wanted, then KANAYA just couldn't understand that we had to do this. But now I can't tell. Did you want all this, or did the prince? Abruptly, Terezi lifts from the ground with a glidingly smooth, effortless motion. Metal is so much stronger than flesh. She flashes a sharp-toothed grin at her feet dangle uselessly in front of the lithe metallic form of her counterparts here. Inspiring a reaction like this from Rose, his robotic placidity has been like squeezing blood from a stone on this years-long journey. Delicious candy red blood. I have complete recall of every sensation my body experienced. I can simulate, and have simulated, cherished, and tragic memories in their entirety. They flood my circuits with feeling, more real than flesh ever could be. A direct contact between mind and memory. Is this what you want to hear, Terezi? That I can replay the complete sensory experience of my first kiss 100 times in a single clock cycle? Do you want me to rend my garments and wail at the tragedy of it all? Play victim, damsel in distress, leak lubricant from the joints of my eyes to stimulate the tears I can no longer shed? I know what I have lost. I have taken a full account of it. I cannot and will not forget it. But to cling to it as it fades to nothing would be a meaningless capitulation to entropy. Someone must sit atop Olympus and propagate the fabric of reality upon which these memories sit. That is the task we have taken on. The game does not feel, the game does not mourn. The game must be played, and we must guide those who will play it better than we ourselves were guided. Just as I have remembered the good, I can recall the terror that consumed me and overwhelmed my body. The visions of disillusion, the narrative unspooling, 1,000 voices shouting contradiction. What value is a marriage, temporary domestic bliss, if all is lost? You understand this bargain, at least you should. It's one that was made to leave you alone. Is your resentment towards my choice about KANAYA or about bonk? Rosebot's even metallic voice is interrupted by the bang of skull against metal, and Terezi's headbutt collapses both of them into a crumpling heap of metal flesh. That was a step too far. Tensions that once simmered under the surface have found the catalyst for a boil. Terezi and Rosebot's repartee of words is replaced by the dissonant notes of clanging and smashing as they roll around on the floor of the crashed thesis central chambers, throwing punches and smashing the control panel in a crescendo of chaos. This is more than a sufficient distraction from the melancholy Terezi was sinking into. Her senses are alight. The whirl of servos and actuators are a dusting of snow on her hearing, undercutting the percussion of their rolling wrestling match. The orange claw she's ripping and scuffling. I'm having a hard time. I've been getting into the groove. I've been sitting here like suffocates every breath she inhales with a sweetly acidic taste of grapefruit and tangerine. She imagines anger pouring from the glassy red eyes as they roll over one last time. Rosebot finally has Terezi pinned down the ground by the throat. A cool metallic knee is pressed hard between her legs, holding her down. A natural pause in the staccato squabble is found, and two pairs of red eyes locked on each other. Terezi's breath rises and falls deeply. The robot's intricately crafted torso does not simulate breath, but the soft, stirrous purr of cooling fans betray the tension. Terezi spits out a few raspy words gleefully. I take it back. Turns out I still enjoy talking to you. A simulated smirk is summoned into being on a robot's face. A voice file plays in high fidelity. Back to our usual stimulating dialogue, it seems. What? Whoa. Huh? Huh? Wait. Huh? What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? Now all of a sudden, they're gonna fuck? What? What's going on, bro? I thought there was like some actual like understandable tension, and Terezi is trying to trying to bring the human back into Rose, you know? But then it turned into a fuck session? Excuse the fuck out of me? Whoa. I fiddle with some advanced fucking Dirk heads. You're like, alright. Let's cut away. Cut the camera, cut the film. Whoa. I fiddle with some advanced specialization machinery for a few hours and then come back to this. This is the problem with lesser actors. Leave them alone for too long and they get all touchy and start talking about feelings. We're passing the Bechdel test and advancing none of the plot. There was hardly any panels. That's not my Homestuck. You people here are here for logic, systems, weird plot shit, lore, not this. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that fourth wall break a little much? Did your disbelief until now so utterly delinquent and prone to vagrants that it's been suspended indefinitely finally collapse? Go ahead and close the fucking book thing. Quit out of your browser. Slam the laptop closed and punt it into the ocean. That shark is probably hungry after all the jumping. You won't though. If you were going to quit, you would have quit before this. We're in it for the long haul, you and I. We'll all go down together. Welcome to Nam. Anyway, where was I? Alright. Passing judgment on my robotic ectodar smashing the damn shipping grid to pieces. Really, Rose? Really? Our task of phenomenal cosmic importance isn't going to wait for a dalliance. I've just mastered fine-tuning perisodactyl hooves, with this machine, and need my co-monarch back. Plus, what would dear sweet KANAYA think? Oh my god, shut up and give me some privacy, nerd! Fine, be that way. I'll just get a head start on my species then. If it's only the fate of the new planet on which the weight of saving the universe lies. If voiding the warranty on a complex piece of machinery is more important than all that, then go ahead. I got better things to do. Chapter 6. A conversation regarding relevance. Oh boy. Oh Christ. We're going back to Calliope. It's been an hour on this recording, and now it is time for me to close the book on this recording as well. See y'all in the next one. Hopefully. Maybe not. Who knows? Nooses.